Have you ever felt like an outsider in your own life? Like you are walking through a crowded room, but nobody truly sees the fire burning inside your soul? There is a reason for that isolation. There is a reason why the world seems to push against you every time you try to move forward. Right now, in the unseen realms, there is a fierce battle taking place over your destiny. Someone powerful just looked at the blueprint of your life and declared, "That is the one." You are not crazy. You are not failing. You are being targeted because you have been chosen. Think about the times you felt a sudden, heavy weight on your chest for no reason. Think about the friendships that ended abruptly just when you thought they were solid. You thought it was bad luck. You thought it was your fault. But what if I told you that those people were removed because they were double agents in a war for your spirit? In a small town in Ohio, there was a man named Elias. Elias was 42 years old and worked a steady job at a local logistics firm. On the surface, he was just another face in the suburbs, but Elias had a secret. He felt a pull toward something greater, a calling he couldn't name. Every time he tried to step into his purpose, chaos erupted. His car would break down. His bank account would hit zero unexpectedly. People he trusted would turn their backs on him. He felt like a victim of a cruel cosmic joke. But then, one rainy Tuesday, everything changed. He met an old woman at a diner who looked him dead in the eye and said, "They are fighting over you because they know who you are before you do." That is the reality for every chosen one listening to this right now. The forces of darkness and the legions of light are in a tug-of-war over your potential. The darkness wants to keep you small, keep you addicted, keep you silent. The light is calling you to stand up and reclaim the authority that was stolen from you. Why you? Why now? Because the world is shifting. And the chosen ones are the only ones who can anchor the truth in this sea of lies. You are a threat to the status quo. You are a glitch in their system of control. Every struggle you face is a testament to your value. If you were ordinary, the enemy wouldn't waste his time on you. If you were no one, you wouldn't feel this intense pressure. The pressure is only there because there is a diamond waiting to be formed. Imagine a high-stakes auction where the most valuable artifact is being bid on. That artifact is your soul. The world is trying to buy your silence with comfort and fear. But the Creator has already placed a mark on you that cannot be erased. As we sit here today, someone has recognized that mark. An authority in the spiritual realm has pointed at you and said, "That one is the key." This is why your life has been a series of almosts and not quites. You were being preserved. You were being tested. You were being prepared for a moment that is about to arrive. Do you feel that vibration in your heart? That is the confirmation. But there is a twist you haven't seen coming. The battle isn't just about your future. It's about the bloodline you carry. You are the one who is supposed to break the chains that held your parents and their parents before them. The weight you feel isn't just yours. It's the weight of generations waiting for you to win. But how do you win a war you didn't know you were in? How do you stand firm when the very ground beneath you feels like it's shaking? The answer lies in understanding the master plan that has been set in motion. There is a strategy being used against you, but there is a counter-strategy that is even more powerful. The forces trying to stop you are terrified. They are desperate. They know their time is running out. And they know that if you ever realize the full extent of your power, it's game over for them. So they distract you. They give you anxiety. They make you feel lonely. But remember, this isolation is often the classroom of the elite. You weren't rejected by people. You were protected by God. Every door that slammed in your face was locked by a hand that loved you too much to let you go the wrong way. Are you ready to stop being the victim and start being the victor? Are you ready to hear the words that will change the way you see every problem in your life? Because what I'm about to tell you next will explain every single why you've ever asked. It will explain the tears, the silence, and the sudden bursts of strength you didn't know you had. The battle is intensifying because the breakthrough is closer than it has ever been. Don't look away now. Don't let the distractions win. Because the next part of this journey reveals the secret weapon that has been hidden inside you all along. Why is the battle so intense? Why does it feel like as soon as you take one step forward, the world tries to drag you 3 steps back? You need to understand the logistics of the spiritual realm. In the United States today, we understand the value of a high-value target. In military terms, you don't send a strike team after a foot soldier. You send the heavy hitters after the commander. You send the best resources to neutralize the person who carries the codes. You are that person. You carry the codes to change your family, your community, and perhaps even the course of your city. The reason you have faced more trauma than the average person is not because you are weak. It is because you were identified early as a threat to the darkness that has ruled your bloodline for 100 years. Let's talk about Sarah. Sarah was a 35-year-old nurse in Dallas, Texas. She grew up in a household where addiction was the only tradition passed down from generation to generation. Her grandfather struggled, her father struggled, and for a long time, it looked like Sarah was going to be the next link in that chain of misery. But Sarah had a spark. She had a kindness that didn't make sense given the cruelty she had survived. She began to pray. She began to seek a higher truth. And that is when the real war started. Suddenly, her co-workers began to spread lies about her. Her car's engine blew out on the way to a critical job interview. She felt a paralyzing fear every time she tried to speak up in church or at a community meeting. She told me, "I feel like I'm being watched. I feel like something is trying to snuff out my light before I can even see it." She was right. She was being watched, but not just by the enemy. The great architect was watching her too. He was allowing the friction to build her muscles. He was letting the fire burn away the wood, hay, and stubble of her past so that only the gold would remain. The chosen one is not a title of luxury. It is a title of responsibility. When someone in the spiritual realm said, "You're the one," they were identifying the person who could finally stand in the gap. They saw the one who would say, "The cycle of poverty ends with me. The cycle of divorce ends with me. The cycle of fear ends with me." When you make that decision, you move from being a bystander to being a combatant. And in a war, the enemy targets the supply lines. He tries to cut off your joy. He tries to cut off your peace. He tries to cut off your financial stability. But here is the logic that the darkness always misses. Every time they attack a chosen one, they inadvertently push them closer to their creator. The very weapon meant to destroy you becomes the anvil upon which your destiny is forged. Think about the miles you have walked in shoes that were too tight. Think about the nights you cried yourself to sleep in a house that didn't feel like home. None of that was wasted. Every tear was a seed. Every moment of loneliness was a pruning process. The world looks at you and sees someone who has struggled. The Creator looks at you and sees a warrior who is finally ready for the front lines. There is a specific reason why you feel different from everyone else. You have a divine dissatisfaction. You can't settle for a 9-to-5 existence that has no meaning. You can't just watch the news and feel nothing. You feel the pain of the world because you were designed to be part of the cure. But to be the cure, you have to survive the disease. You have to be inoculated against the opinions of people. You have to become immune to the fear of being alone. Because the path of the chosen one is often a solitary one. The crowd won't follow you until you've already reached the destination. Right now, you are in the middle of the wilderness. It's dry, it's quiet, and it feels like you've been forgotten. But the wilderness is where the voice of God is the loudest. It is where the distractions of the world are stripped away so you can hear the strategy for the next phase of your life. Someone is fighting over you right now because they know that if you wake up, thousands of others will wake up with you. Your victory is not just yours. It belongs to the people who are watching you. It belongs to the children who will see your strength and find their own. Do you realize how much power is in your yes? When you say yes to your calling, you release a frequency that disrupts the entire kingdom of darkness. You become a beacon. And yes, a beacon attracts bugs. It attracts critics. It attracts those who want to extinguish the light because it hurts their eyes. But the light you carry is not your own. It is a reflected glory from a source that can never be depleted. You are a 24-carat soul in a world of gold-plated imitation. Don't let the imitations make you feel like you're the one who doesn't belong. You don't belong because you were made for a higher kingdom. You were made for a different atmosphere. That's why the air down here feels heavy sometimes. You are a deep-sea creature trying to breathe on the surface, or a bird trapped in a cage. But the cage door is already unlocked. The only thing holding you back is the belief that you are still a prisoner. The enemy wants you to focus on the bars. The Creator wants you to focus on the sky. In the next few moments, I am going to show you exactly how to identify the specific traps that have been set for you. I am going to reveal why the people closest to you are sometimes the ones used to hurt you the most. It isn't a coincidence. It's a tactic. But once you see the tactic, it loses its power. Once you understand the why, you can endure any how. The fight is real, but the outcome has already been decided. The only question is, are you going to stay on the ground, or are you going to stand up and claim the territory that has your name on it? Because the real revelation is just beginning, and you won't believe who is actually leading the charge for your soul. Why does the resistance increase the closer you get to the truth? In the American heartland, there's an old saying among farmers, "The crows only peck at the best fruit." If your life was empty, if your soul was barren, the scavengers of the spiritual realm would leave you alone. But they see the harvest inside you. They see the 1,000-acre potential hidden in a single seed of your faith. This is why the master plan involves a process called divine isolation. You've felt it, haven't you? That sudden coldness from people who used to be warm. That feeling of being voted off the island by your own social circle or even your own family. In your mind, you're asking, what did I do wrong? In reality, you're being hidden. Think about a high-value asset in the United States Witness Protection Program. When someone is too valuable to be lost, the government moves them. They change their environment. They cut off their old contacts. They isolate them not as a punishment, but to ensure their survival for a future testimony. The Creator is doing the exact same thing to you. He is pulling you out of the normal noise so he can whisper the blueprints of your next season into your spirit. Let's look at the life of a man named David from Chicago. David was a high achiever, a man who built his entire identity on being liked and being the go-to guy for everyone. Then, in a period of just 6 months, he lost it all. His business partner betrayed him. His long-term relationship crumbled, and a health scare forced him into weeks of bed rest and silence. He felt like his life was a total collapse. He felt like a failure. But during those weeks of silence, in a small apartment overlooking the grey skyline, David began to hear a voice he had ignored for 20 years. It wasn't a loud, booming voice. It was a steady, rhythmic pulse in his heart that said, "I had to stop you so I could save you. I had to let them leave so they wouldn't infect where you are going." David realized that his collapse was actually a clearance. The architect was clearing the site to build something much larger than a mere house. He was building a temple. The chosen one often mistakes the clearing of the land for the destruction of the dream. But you cannot pour new wine into old wineskins. You cannot take the people who benefited from your weakness into the season where you find your strength. The battle being fought over you is so fierce because the enemy knows that if you ever align your will with the master plan, you become untouchable. This is the logic of the counterattack. The enemy attacks your mind with anxiety to prevent you from using your mind for vision. He attacks your body with fatigue to prevent you from walking into your purpose. He attacks your reputation to make you hide your face when you should be raising your voice. But notice something crucial. The enemy can only react to what the Creator has already initiated. The darkness is not a creative force. It is a reactive one. The attack is the proof of the promotion. If there was no yes over your life from the heavens, there would be no no coming from the pits. You need to stop looking at your problems as evidence of God's absence. They are the primary evidence of His presence. He is training your hands for war and your fingers for battle. He is teaching you how to stand when everyone else is bowing to the pressures of this modern age. Think about the sheer scale of the universe, the billions of stars and the trillions of cells. The same hand that holds the galaxies together is currently shielding you. But why is someone saying you are the one? Because the world is currently in a state of deep confusion. People are searching for authenticity. They are searching for a light that doesn't flicker when the wind blows. They are looking for you. But you can't lead them if you're still trying to fit in with them. You can't heal them if you're still carrying the same bitterness they are. This is why your training has been so rigorous. This is why your desert period has lasted longer than you expected. You weren't just being tested for your own sake. You were being prepared to be a bridge for others. The chosen one is a bridge, and a bridge has to be anchored deep into the rock to withstand the weight of the traffic that will cross it. Your pain is the anchoring process. Every time you felt like you were being pushed down, you were actually being driven in. Deep into the truth, deep into the word, deep into the character of the one who called you. Someone is fighting over you because you are a pivotal soul. If you turn, 100 people behind you turn. If you stand, 1,000 people find the courage to get off their knees. The enemy is terrified of your influence, even if you only have 2 followers on social media. Or if you feel like nobody listens to you at home, the spiritual realm sees your rank. They see the 5-star general hidden inside the private first class. The master plan is moving into its second phase. The first phase was the crushing. The second phase is the pouring. You've been crushed. You've been squeezed. Now the oil is ready to flow, but there is one final hurdle you must overcome. There is one specific lie that the enemy is whispering in your ear right now to make you quit at the 99-yard line. He's telling you that you've waited too long. He's telling you that you've made too many mistakes for the title of Chosen One to still apply to you. But what he doesn't want you to know is that your mistakes were already factored into the plan. Your scars are not disqualifications, they are your credentials. In the next part, we are going to deconstruct that lie. We are going to look at the twist of grace that turns your greatest shame into your greatest strength. The battle is reaching its peak. The voices are getting louder, but the silence of the Creator is about to be broken by a shout of victory. Are you ready to see the trap for what it really is? Are you ready to step out of the shadows and into the sunlight? The journey continues, and the revelation is about to get personal. There is a specific kind of warfare that happens right before a total breakthrough. In the high-tech corridors of Silicon Valley, engineers talk about the stress test. Before a system is allowed to go live, it is pushed to its absolute breaking point. It is flooded with data, heat, and pressure to see if it will fail. The enemy has been running a stress test on your soul for years. He has been whispering the most lethal lie in his arsenal. You have disqualified yourself. He points to your past. He points to that night in your 20s you want to forget. He points to the anger you felt last week, the lapse in judgment, the moments where you felt anything but chosen. But here is the twist of grace that the forces of darkness cannot comprehend. The Creator does not choose the qualified. He qualifies the chosen. Think about the most famous figures in history who carried the chosen mantle. They weren't the ones with the cleanest resumes. They were the ones with the deepest scars. Let's look at a woman named Maria from Miami. Maria spent a decade in a cycle of destructive relationships and self-sabotage. She felt like a shattered mirror, useless, broken, and dangerous to anyone who tried to get close. When she finally felt the call to lead a ministry for women in her city, the enemy attacked her with her own memory. "How can you speak of purity?" the voice whispered. "How can you speak of strength when you were so weak for so long?" Maria almost quit. She almost retreated back into the shadows of her average life. But then she realized a profound truth. Her brokenness wasn't a barrier to her calling. It was her bridge to the people she was meant to serve. A mirror that has never been broken can only show one image. But a shattered mirror, when pieced back together by a master craftsman, reflects light in 1,000 different directions. The chosen one is often the person who has been through the most hell because they are the only ones who know the way out. You are a spiritual GPS for those who are currently lost where you used to be. If you had never been lost, you wouldn't be able to lead. If you had never been hungry, you wouldn't know where the bread is hidden. Someone is saying, "You're the one," right now, because you have developed a spiritual immunity to the things that kill others. You survived the betrayal. You survived the lack. You survived the depression. The fact that you are still standing, the fact that you are even watching this video is proof that you are more than a conqueror. But the enemy is desperate. He is currently trying to gaslight you into believing that your strength is actually your weakness. He calls your sensitivity emotional instability. He calls your discernment paranoia. He calls your need for solitude social failure. Don't buy the lie. You are not unstable. You are highly tuned. You are not paranoid. You are spiritually alert. You are not a failure. You are being refined. In the United States, we value grit. We value the comeback story more than the person who had it easy from day one. The Creator loves a comeback story because it brings him the most glory. When a broken person does something extraordinary, the world can't credit the person they have to credit the power behind them. The identity revolution starts when you stop looking at yourself through the eyes of your critics and start looking through the eyes of your architect. He doesn't see your sin, he sees your solution. He doesn't see your trauma, he sees your triumph. There is a battle over you because you are a carrier of the atmosphere. When you walk into a room, the temperature changes. People either love you instantly or feel an unexplained irritation toward you. Have you noticed that it's because the spirit inside you is agitating the spirits inside them? The darkness in them is reacting to the light in you. It's not personal, it's vibrational. The chosen one often feels like they are a misfit. But you aren't a misfit. Bows are a fit for a different world. You were never meant to blend in. Camouflage is for the fearful. You were meant to stand out like a city on a hill. But to stand out, you have to be willing to be misunderstood. You have to be willing to let people be wrong about you. The master plan requires you to shed your need for human approval like a snake sheds its skin. It's uncomfortable. It's itchy. It feels vulnerable. But underneath that old skin is a vibrant, powerful new identity waiting to emerge. The chosen one is moving from the survival phase to the authority phase. In the survival phase, you were just trying to get through the day. In the authority phase, you start to command the day. You stop asking for permission to exist and start taking territory. Someone is fighting over you because they know that once you step into your authority, their reign of terror in your family is over. Once you realize that you have the keys, the locks no longer matter. But there is a final trap. The enemy knows he can't stop you with your past anymore, so he's going to try to stop you with your busyness. He's going to try to drown out the voice of your calling with the noise of the urgent. He wants you to be so preoccupied with making a living that you forget to design a life. He wants you to be so focused on the 1% of things that are going wrong that you miss the 99% of the miracles happening right in front of you. How do we break this cycle? How do we move from the battle to the victory? The answer is found in a strategy called the Master's Rest. It's the one thing the enemy can't stand, because a person at peace is a person who is truly dangerous to the kingdom of darkness. In the next section, I am going to show you the master plan for your restoration. I'm going to reveal how the Creator is going to pay you back for every year the locusts have eaten. The payback is not just coming, it's already in transit. But you have to know how to receive it. You have to know how to position yourself for the windfall of grace that is about to hit your life. The fight is almost over. The victory is coming into view, and the someone who called you is about to make himself known in a way you never expected. There is a law in the spiritual world that most people completely overlook. It is the law of restitution. In the American legal system, if someone steals from you and is caught, they don't just give back what they took. They often have to pay damages. They have to pay interest. They have to compensate you for the time and the suffering you endured during the loss. If you are a chosen one, I have a message for you directly from the Supreme Court of Heaven. The enemy has been caught. He was caught red-handed trying to steal your identity, your joy, and your peace. And because he was caught, he is now legally required to pay you back sevenfold. I want you to think about the years you spent in the dark, the years where you felt like you were spinning your wheels in the mud of a small town, or stuck in a dead-end job in a grey city like Detroit, or Pittsburgh. You felt like you were falling behind your peers. You saw people on social media buying houses, getting promoted, and living the American dream while you were just trying to survive the night. You felt like time was your greatest enemy. But here is the master plan for your restoration. The Creator is about to collapse time for you. He is going to give you 10 years of progress in 10 months. He is going to bring people into your life who will do more for you in one conversation than others did for you in a decade. This is what we call divine acceleration. Let's look at the story of a man named James from Seattle. James was 50 years old. He felt like his best years were in the rear-view mirror. He had lost his savings in a bad investment and felt the weight of too late pressing down on his shoulders every morning. But James was a chosen one. He didn't give up. He stayed in the master's rest. He stopped trying to manipulate the outcome and started trusting the architect. One afternoon, while he was working a humble job at a hardware store, a man walked in who needed help with a complex project. James didn't just give him a tool, he gave him a solution based on 30 years of life experience. That man happened to be the CEO of a major development firm looking for a director of operations who had grit and integrity. Within 90 days, James was earning more than he ever had in his 30s. His lost years weren't lost, they were the experience bank he needed to handle the promotion. The battle was fought over James because the enemy wanted him to die in the hardware store, thinking he was a failure. The enemy wanted him to believe that the chosen label had an expiration date. But your calling does not have a shelf life. The someone who said you are the one is not bound by the ticking of a clock. He is the one who created the clock. The reason you are seeing this now is because your restoration season has officially begun. But there is a specific posture you must take to receive the payback. You have to let go of the victim script. You cannot hold on to the payback and the pain at the same time. If you are still talking about what they did to you 5 years ago, you are keeping yourself anchored to the old timeline. The chosen one understands that they were just actors in a play they didn't understand. They were used to push you toward your destiny. If they hadn't betrayed you, you would still be sitting at that old table, eating crumbs when you were meant to own the bakery. Forgiveness is not a gift you give to your enemies. It is a strategic move you make to clear the way for your blessings. When you forgive, you cut the spiritual cord that allows the enemy to drain your energy. You become a closed system that only the Creator can access. And once you are closed to the world, you are open to the windfall. I want you to prepare for a sudden. The Bible is full of suddenlies. Suddenly, the prison doors opened. Suddenly, the storm stopped. Suddenly, the provision appeared. Your life has been a long, slow climb up a steep mountain. You are tired. Your breath is short, but you are about to reach the plateau. And on that plateau, everything you lost is waiting for you, refined and multiplied. The friendships you lost, they are being replaced by destiny helpers people who love the real you, not the version of you that serves their needs. The money you lost, it is being replaced by kingdom wealth, resources that come with a purpose and a plan to bless others. The health you lost, it is being replaced by divine vitality, a strength that doesn't come from coffee or gym sessions, but from a spirit that is finally at peace. Someone is fighting over you because they know that if you ever experience this level of restoration, you will become an evidence producer. Your life will be the only evidence some people ever see that God is real. You won't have to preach. You won't have to argue. You will just have to exist, and people will see the glow of the restoration on your face. The enemy is terrified of your glow up. He wants you to stay grey. He wants you to stay dusty. He wants you to stay in the crisis phase forever. But the crisis has served its purpose. The twist has happened. And now, the master plan is moving into the final act. In this final act, the chosen one isn't just a survivor. The chosen one becomes a distributor. You are going to have so much peace, so much wisdom, and so much provision that you will have to give it away just to keep your own cup from overflowing. But there is one final secret I need to share with you. It is the secret of the final call. It is the moment when the battle stops and the celebration begins. It is the moment when you realize that the someone who said you were the one was actually looking at you from the future. He saw you at the finish line before you even started the race. In the next and final part of this journey, we are going to look at the legacy of the chosen. We are going to see how your life is going to impact generations you will never meet. The fight is over. The payday is here. And the king is calling you to the head of the table. There is a law in the spiritual world that most people completely overlook. It is the law of restitution. In the American legal system, if someone steals from you and is caught, they don't just give back what they took. They often have to pay damages. They have to pay interest. They have to compensate you for the time and the suffering you endured during the loss. If you are a chosen one, I have a message for you directly from the Supreme Court of Heaven. The enemy has been caught. He was caught red-handed trying to steal your identity, your joy, and your peace. And because he was caught, he is now legally required to pay you back sevenfold. I want you to think about the years you spent in the dark. The years where you felt like you were spinning your wheels in the mud of a small town, or stuck in a dead-end job in a grey city like Detroit or Pittsburgh. You felt like you were falling behind your peers. You saw people on social media buying houses, getting promoted, and living the American dream while you were just trying to survive the night. You felt like time was your greatest enemy. But here is the master plan for your restoration. The Creator is about to collapse time for you. He is going to give you 10 years of progress in 10 months. He is going to bring people into your life who will do more for you in one conversation than others did for you in a decade. This is what we call divine acceleration. Let's look at the story of a man named James from Seattle. James was 50 years old. He felt like his best years were in the rearview mirror. He had lost his savings in a bad investment and felt the weight of too late pressing down on his shoulders every morning. But James was a chosen one. He didn't give up. He stayed in the master's rest. He stopped trying to manipulate the outcome and started trusting the architect. One afternoon, while he was working a humble job at a hardware store, a man walked in who needed help with a complex project. James didn't just give him a tool, he gave him a solution based on 30 years of life experience. That man happened to be the CEO of a major development firm looking for a director of operations who had grit and integrity. Within 90 days, James was earning more than he ever had in his 30s. His lost years weren't lost, they were the experience bank he needed to handle the promotion. The battle was fought over James because the enemy wanted him to die in the hardware store thinking he was a failure. The enemy wanted him to believe that the chosen label had an expiration date. But your calling does not have a shelf life. The someone who said you are the one is not bound by the ticking of a clock. He is the one who created the clock. The reason you are seeing this now is because your restoration season has officially begun. But there is a specific posture you must take to receive the payback. You have to let go of the victim script. You cannot hold on to the payback and the pain at the same time. If you are still talking about what they did to you 5 years ago, you are keeping yourself anchored to the old timeline. The chosen one understands that they were just actors in a play they didn't understand. They were used to push you toward your destiny. If they hadn't betrayed you, you would still be sitting at that old table, eating crumbs when you were meant to own the bakery. Forgiveness is not a gift you give to your enemies. It is a strategic move you make to clear the way for your blessings. When you forgive, you cut the spiritual cord that allows the enemy to drain your energy. You become a closed system that only the Creator can access. And once you are closed to the world, you are open to the windfall. I want you to prepare for a sudden. The Bible is full of suddenlies. Suddenly, the prison doors opened. Suddenly, the storm stopped. Suddenly, the provision appeared. Your life has been a long, slow climb up a steep mountain. You are tired. Your breath is short, but you are about to reach the plateau. And on that plateau, everything you lost is waiting for you, refined and multiplied. The friendships you lost, they are being replaced by destiny helpers, people who love the real you, not the version of you that serves their needs. The money you lost, it is being replaced by kingdom wealth resources that come with a purpose and a plan to bless others. The health you lost, it is being replaced by divine vitality, a strength that doesn't come from coffee or gym sessions, but from a spirit that is finally at peace. Someone is fighting over you because they know that if you ever experience this level of restoration, you will become an evidence producer. Your life will be the only evidence some people ever see that God is real. You won't have to preach. You won't have to argue. You will just have to exist, and people will see the glow of the restoration on your face. The enemy is terrified of your glow up. He wants you to stay gray. He wants you to stay dusty. He wants you to stay in the crisis phase forever. But the crisis has served its purpose. The twist has happened. And now, the master plan is moving into the final act. In this final act, the chosen one isn't just a survivor. The chosen one becomes a distributor. You are going to have so much peace, so much wisdom, and so much provision that you will have to give it away just to keep your own cup from overflowing. But there is one final secret I need to share with you. It is the secret of the final call. It is the moment when the battle stops and the celebration begins. It is the moment when you realize that the someone who said you were the one was actually looking at you from the future. He saw you at the finish line before you even started the race. In the next and final part of this journey, we are going to look at the legacy of the chosen. We are going to see how your life is going to impact generations you will never meet. The fight is over. The payday is here, and the king is calling you to the head of the table. We have reached the mountain top. From here, the view is different. When you were at the bottom, all you could see were the obstacles. Now you can see the path. You can see how every jagged rock and every dark valley was placed there with surgical precision. The battle over your soul wasn't just about your comfort. It was about your legacy. In the United States, we are obsessed with the self-made story. But as a chosen one, you know the truth: you are heaven-made. Everything the world tried to use to break you has been repurposed to build you. The final strategy of the enemy is to make you think that once you reach a place of peace, the story is over. He wants you to retire in your mind. He wants you to take your blessings and hide in a gated community of the soul, away from the pain of the world. But that is not why you were chosen. You were chosen to be a distributor of hope. Think about a lighthouse on the coast of Maine. The lighthouse doesn't exist for itself. It doesn't enjoy the view. It stands in the middle of the most brutal storms, taking the salt and the wind so that others can find their way home. Your life has become that lighthouse. The someone who said you are the one was looking for a vessel that wouldn't crack under the pressure of the light. Most people want the blessing, but they can't handle the voltage of the calling. You can. You have been rewired through suffering. Your spiritual circuits have been reinforced by the very fires that tried to consume you. Let's talk about a man named Samuel from Philadelphia. Samuel spent his whole life feeling like a black sheep. He was the one who didn't fit the family mold. He was the one who asked too many questions. He was the one who wandered into the wilderness of doubt and struggle. But in his 50s, Samuel realized that his wandering had given him a map that no one else in his family possessed. When his younger brother hit a wall of despair, Samuel was the only one who knew the way out. When his community faced a crisis of faith, Samuel was the only one whose roots were deep enough to keep him standing. His chosen status wasn't a badge of superiority. It was a mandate of service. He realized that his legacy wasn't going to be a name on a building or a bank account full of digits. His legacy was going to be the chain-breaking authority he passed down to his children and his children's children. Because Samuel stood his ground, his grandson will never have to fight the same demons. Because Samuel chose to forgive, his granddaughter will grow up in a house of grace instead of a house of grudges. That is the power of the One. The spiritual battle over you is intensifying because you are at the threshold of impact. You are moving from personal victory to generational liberty. The enemy isn't just fighting you, he's fighting the future versions of you. He's trying to kill the harvest while it's still in the seed. But he is too late. The seed has already cracked. The roots have already taken hold. And the master plan is now in its fruit-bearing stage. I want you to look at your hands. These are not just hands that work or hands that hold. These are hands that have been anointed to build the kingdom in the middle of a collapsing world. Every word you speak from this day forward carries a different weight. Every prayer you whisper has a direct line to the throne room because you have been tested and found faithful. The someone who just said you are the one is the great I Am. He is the Alpha and the Omega. He is the one who stood at the beginning of time and saw you watching this video right now. He saw the tears you shed in 2024. He saw the betrayal you endured in 2025. And he said, "That is the one I will use to show the world my glory." You are the masterpiece in progress. A masterpiece is never finished in a day. It requires scraping. It requires layers. It requires the artist to step back and look at it from a distance. The creator has stepped back, and he is smiling. He sees the finished product. He sees the you that is no longer afraid. He sees the you that no longer needs the applause of men. He sees the you that is finally fully free. The battle is over. The victory is recorded in the halls of eternity. The only thing left for you to do is to walk in it. Stop looking for the fight. Start looking for the fruit. Stop checking for the enemy. Start checking for the opportunities to bless. The chosen one lives in a state of continual expectancy. Expect the miracle. Expect the open door. Expect the sudden restoration. As we close this chapter of the journey, I want you to take a deep breath. Feel the weight leaving your shoulders. That weight was the requirement to perform. You don't have to perform anymore. You just have to be the light. Be the witness. Be the chosen one. The world is waiting for you to step into the fullness of who you were always meant to be. The fight was hard, but the prize is eternal. And remember, they are still fighting over you in the spirit, but they are fighting for the privilege of standing near the light you carry. The darkness has lost, the light has won, and you are the trophy of that victory. Go forth and claim your territory. Your king is with you. Your purpose is before you, and your legacy is just beginning to unfold. This journey we have taken today is more than just a story. It is a mirror. If your heart burned while listening to these words, if you felt a chill of recognition at the mention of the isolation or the crushing, then you know this message was targeted directly at your soul. The meaning of this story is simple yet profound. Your struggle was never a sign of your abandonment. It was the mark of your assignment. In a world that prizes the shallow and the temporary, being a chosen one means you have been set apart for the deep and the eternal. The lesson here is that you cannot judge the quality of your life by the difficulty of your circumstances. A diamond is judged by its ability to withstand pressure, not by its comfort in the dark. You have withstood the pressure. You have survived the dark. And now, the architect is bringing you into the light so you can reflect his brilliance to a world that is desperately lost in the shadows. The lesson is also one of patience. In our fast-paced digital American culture, we want the restoration without the refinement. We want the payback without the process. But the Creator is a master craftsman, and he does not rush his greatest works. If it took time to break you, it will take time to rebuild you into something even more magnificent. Trust the timing. Trust the silence. Trust the someone who called you by name before you were even a thought in your mother's mind. You are the one. You are the bridge. You are the legacy. Now, as you move forward from this moment, I want you to carry this truth like a shield. When the enemy whispers that you are alone, remember the lighthouse. When the world tells you that you are a failure, remember the twist of grace. And when your own mind tries to disqualify you, remember that the King of Kings has already signed your credentials with his own blood. The battle is won. The morning has broken. It is time for you to shine. If this message touched your heart, and you feel that fire of being the chosen one, please comment 999 below. Let us know that you are standing in your authority and ready for your restoration. If you feel like this didn't quite resonate with where you are right now, or if you're still in the middle of the crushing and need more clarity, please comment 0. Your feedback helps me create content that truly serves your soul and meets you exactly where you are. I value your voice and your journey. Please leave a comment and share your perspective. How has your isolation prepared you for your promotion? And if you want to continue this journey of discovery and spiritual warfare strategy, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Your support gives me the strength and the motivation to keep bringing these deep revelations to light. We are a community of the chosen. We are the ones the world couldn't break. And together, we are going to change the atmosphere of this generation. Thank you for watching. Stay bold, stay chosen, and I will see you in the next video.